There are phrases we repeat so casually that we forget they hold the power to sculpt our entire existence. Two tiny words, spoken countless times since childhood, carry a force far greater than we realize. They don't just describe us, they create us. Those words are, I am. Pause for a moment. Think of how often you say it. I am exhausted. I am failing. I am lost. Or maybe I am growing. I am stronger. I am ready. On the surface, these sound like harmless labels, but they're not. Each I am isn't just a sentence, it's a command, coded into your subconscious and broadcast to the quantum field. You're not passively reporting reality, you're selecting it. In truth, I am is the bridge between your inner identity and the limitless field of possibilities that surrounds you. These words aren't mere observations, they are activations. Mystics have known this for centuries, and now modern science is beginning to echo it. Each time you declare I am, you tune yourself into a frequency. That frequency begins to solidify into the life you live. The real question is, are you choosing that frequency with awareness, or are you letting it run on autopilot? Let's bring this down to earth. You've heard of the placebo effect. Someone takes a sugar pill, yet because they believe it's real medicine, their body begins to heal. But here's the deeper layer, it's not just belief. It's identity. Somewhere inside, the person starts to embody I am healing, and their body responds, shifting chemistry and rewiring physiology in measurable ways. Now imagine applying that principle beyond health to love, to money, to purpose. Every area of life mirrors not what you hope for, but who you fundamentally accept yourself to be. You don't magnetize what you wish. You magnetize what your nervous system has been trained to believe as truth. Positive thinking alone won't cut it. The true shift happens when the hidden blueprint of your subconscious identity begins to change, because that blueprint drives 95% of your daily thoughts, feelings, and actions. And here's the fascinating part. This is exactly how quantum physics describes reality. The observer effect tells us that a particle's behavior changes depending on who is observing it. But what shapes the observer's lens? Consciousness, expectation, identity. When you declare, I am, you align your inner state with one potential reality among many. And in that alignment, infinite possibilities collapse into one chosen experience, the one you've claimed. This isn't mystical speculation. Neuroscience confirms that repeated thoughts charged with emotion create hardwired neural pathways. The brain doesn't ask whether your I am is empowering or destructive, it simply obeys. It builds the reality you continually command. So the question becomes, what reality are you instructing it to create? Understand this. I am isn't just an affirmation. It's a declaration of frequency, and frequency never lies. You can chant, I am abundant 1,000 times, but if your body and emotions are vibrating lack, the quantum field reads lack. This is why true transformation isn't about memorizing mantras, it's about embodying identity. When thought, feeling, and action come into coherence, your I am becoming magnetic. You don't pull in random luck. You pull in the exact resonance of who you've chosen to be. And that is why these matters. Because if you speak I am unconsciously, shaped by old wounds or limiting programs, you will keep collapsing timelines that hold you back. But the moment you wake up, when you start choosing I am, with clarity and energy, your reality begins to reorganize itself around your highest potential. As we move forward, we'll dive even deeper into how identity interacts with the quantum field. We'll explore why the words I am work not just on the surface of language, but on the very fabric of subatomic reality. Because saying the words is never enough, You have to become the version of yourself that feels them, breathes them, and embodies them fully. For now, take a slow breath and ask yourself, what story have I been telling the universe about who I am? That story is the life you're living right now. To understand why I am carrying such force, we must step into the space where science and spirituality finally meet the quantum level. At this level, identity isn't only a mental idea, it's vibrational. And whether you've been aware of it or not, you've been shaping reality with your consciousness all along. The difference is that now, you're being invited to do it with intention. Let's start with one of the most fundamental discoveries in quantum physics, the observer effect. This principle reveals that the very act of observation influences the outcome of an experiment at the smallest scales of reality. Subatomic particles like electrons do not exist in a single fixed place. Instead, they hover in a cloud of probabilities, a wave of infinite potential outcomes. But the moment an observation is made, the wave collapses into a particle. The act of attention transforms potential into reality. In other words, observation doesn't just notice reality, it creates it. Now imagine applying that to your daily life. Your thoughts, your focus, your expectations, these aren't idle mental activities. They are acts of quantum observation. And nothing reveals what you're truly observing more clearly than the phrase, I am. Because when you say I am, you're not just watching life, you're locking yourself into a particular version of self. You become the selector, and the quantum field responds accordingly. Here's the mistake so many people make. They try to manifest by focusing only on external desires, money, love, success, healing. But wanting is not observing. Hoping is not. Declaring, the quantum field doesn't reflect what you wish, it reflects who you are. And who you are is revealed every time you speak or feel I am. This is the crucial difference between passive intention and active coherence. You can repeat I am abundant 100 times a day, but if your nervous system and emotions are still tuned to scarcity, abundance will not appear. The wave doesn't collapse into that version of reality because the frequency doesn't match. The universe isn't misunderstanding you, it's mirroring you. As Dr. Joe Dispenza often says, your personality creates your personal reality. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors together form an electromagnetic signature that communicates directly with the field. At the very center of that signal is your identity, your I am. Think of it like tuning a radio. The music you hear depends on the frequency you've chosen. You can't tune your dial to 87.3 and expect to hear what's playing on 104.7. It's not a punishment. It's simply physics. In the same way, you cannot tune yourself to lack, fear, or doubt and expect to experience abundance, love, or peace. And here's where it becomes even more extraordinary. Physicist John Wheeler once said, "We live in a participatory universe. Reality is not something fixed and finished that we simply observe, it's something incomplete, waiting for us to participate. Your consciousness is not a bystander in this unfolding, it's the sculptor. And the words I am are the chisel. When you declare I am healthy, and when your body feels it, when your cells align with it, when your energy vibrates in coherence with it, you're not pleading with the universe for healing. You're collapsing into the version of you that already exists in perfect health. The field doesn't require convincing, it requires alignment. This is the secret most people were never told. Every possible version of you already exists. The strong you, the confident you, the wealthy you, the awakened you. They're all there, encoded in the quantum field as waves of potential. And every time you say, I am, you're making a choice. You're breathing life into one of those versions and letting it step forward into your experience. Here's the challenge. Most of us never wrote our I am story with intention. It was written for us, piece by piece, shaped by childhood experiences, painful memories, cultural conditioning, and the voices of others. You didn't consciously decide one day, I am unworthy, or I am not enough. Those identities slipped in quietly, repeated until they became familiar, and what is familiar soon becomes default. A script you didn't author, but one you've been performing for years. But now you know the truth. Identity is not carved in stone. It is fluid, dynamic, and quantum. You are not chained to the echoes of the past. You are not condemned by the loops of old patterns. At your core, you are the observer, and the field itself, you are the frequency that selects which reality solidifies. Mystics have always pointed to this. Neville Goddard summarized it in one powerful line: claim it, feel it, and it will be yours. He wasn't speaking about blind wishing. He was describing the mechanics of quantum embodiment. When you declare I am and allow your emotions, your nervous system, and your energy to harmonize with that declaration, the field doesn't have a choice. It reorganizes itself in alignment. Not because of superstition, but because that is the law. So what does this mean for your life? It means your next shift won't come from sheer force or endless effort. It will come through embodiment, through becoming the I am you wish to live. Not repeating words like a machine, but allowing them to become the state of your being. In the next part of this journey, we'll connect the dots between science and soul. We'll explore how voices like Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, and ancient wisdom traditions all converge on the same truth. You are the I am. And the moment you embody it with coherence, you step out of the old script and into the one that was waiting for you all along. Until then, sit with this question. If every I am is a command, what identity have I been instructing reality to echo back to me? At some point, every seeker realizes that the source of their suffering was never the outer world, it was the mirror. Life is not punishing you. Life is reflecting you. Not what you say you want, but who you have decided to be. Think of it this way. If the universe is a mirror, then your I am the fingerprint you leave upon the glass. It is the energetic signal that directs reality in what to reflect. And this isn't just poetic language, it's a practical map that sages have passed down for centuries. Neville Goddard, one of the clearest voices in metaphysical wisdom, taught that imagination and identity are inseparable. He wrote, "You become what you claim I am to be. Not what you casually think, but what you persist in claiming with conviction. Because claiming isn't passive. It's not hoping. It's a conscious decision, a vibrational stand. It's the moment you stop begging for change and begin embodying change. And from that embodiment, reality must shift." Let's get real for a moment. What have you been claiming lately? I am tired. I am overwhelmed. I am stuck. There's nothing wrong with those declarations, they're human. But every time you speak to them, you're putting on an energetic costume, telling life's mirror, this is who I am. And the mirror, without judgment or hesitation, simply replies, so be it. But here's the shift most people miss. You don't need to beg the mirror to show you something different. Instead, you choose to show up differently in front of it. That's the secret. You don't wait until you feel confident to declare, I am confident. You speak it, embody it, and allow the identity to rewire your system from the inside out. You don't wait for love to walk through the door before saying, I am love. You declare it, and suddenly the field arranges itself to match you. Life always trails behind identity, it doesn't lead it. This is where the bridge between science and spirit becomes undeniable. Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown that when people enter a deep state of meditative coherence and emotionally rehearse a new identity, their brain and body begin responding as though that future reality has already arrived. Hormones shift, neural circuits fire in new ways, genes express differently, the body isn't pretending it's becoming, and the field mirrors that frequency back. This is not positive thinking. This is embodiment. Here's the secret. The self you've been waiting to become is not hiding in some distant future. It already exists in the field as a vibrational blueprint. Every time you declare, "I am," with coherence, you tune into that version of you like a radio tower picking up a signal. You're not inventing a new identity, you're remembering it. Florence Scovel Shinn called this the divine pattern. She wrote, "There is a place that you are to fill, and no one else can fill it. Something you are to do which no one else can do." That place is not a location, it is a frequency. And only when you step into it through your I am can it unfold. But let's be honest, this isn't about faking it. You can't declare, "I am successful," while vibrating with fear and expect the field to be tricked. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. That's why the true path of I am about reciting mantras. It's about shifting identity. Transformation begins not when you say it, but when you start to become it. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable, because stepping into a new identity requires releasing the old one, the one that felt safe, the one built from survival, from wounds, from protection. But survival is not your home. It was only the hallway that got you here. I am the doorway into something greater. So imagine what would happen if, today, not tomorrow, you gave yourself permission to declare what your soul already knows. I am not broken. I am becoming. I am not late. I am right on time. I am not lost. I am aligned. Feel the difference in your body. These aren't requests for future blessings. They are activations of a self that already exists within the field. A self that knows. A self that radiates. A self that's simply waiting for you to remember. Because in the quantum world, time is not a straight line. Every possible version of you already exists. And the moment you match the identity, when you feel it, live it, breathe it, that version becomes accessible. The mirror bends. Reality reorganizes itself. And here's the truth. You don't need external permission, and you don't need proof. What you need is decision. In the next part, we'll confront what happens when you take this leap, the friction, the doubts, the inner resistance that whispers, "It can't be this simple." We'll learn how to dissolve those blocks and retrain the field from within. But before we step into that, ask yourself, if life is only reflecting my identity, what old costume am I finally ready to lay down? And what new self am I ready to claim? By now, you've probably felt it, that spark when you declare, "I am free," or "I am abundant." It vibrates with truth. It awakens something ancient. But almost instantly, another voice rises. No, you're not. It masquerades as logic, disguises itself as reality. But in truth, it is resistance. And if you misinterpret that resistance, you'll think the process is failing, when in fact, resistance is proof that the shift has already begun. Let's make one thing clear. Resistance is not failure. It's friction. It's the tension between the identity you've been living and the identity you're stepping into. That discomfort doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, it means you're waking up. Here's why. Every time you declare a new I am, you're installing a new frequency into your system. And immediately, your subconscious scans for inconsistencies. It whispers, "That's not who we are." Not because it's against you, but because it's programmed to protect you. Your subconscious is like an old security system. It doesn't measure truth. It measures familiarity. This is the paradox of transformation. Your nervous system is designed to keep you safe in the known, not fulfilled in the new. So even if you say, "I am worthy" or "I am successful," your body may tighten, your mind may spiral, and your old story will try to pull you back. That isn't sabotage, it's outdated coding, and your work is to rewrite it. But here's the catch. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic or argument. It doesn't care about rational explanations. What it understands is repetition, emotion, and embodiment. If you want to dissolve resistance, you can't just think a new thought, you must feel a new self. This is where coherence becomes your secret weapon. Research from Dr. Joe Dispenza shows that when the heart and brain move into coherence, when they begin to beat and fire in harmony, your entire field reorganizes. The nervous system softens, the body becomes receptive, and your intentions begin broadcasting a clear, unshakable signal into the quantum field. It's not about shouting, "I am," louder. It's about whispering it from a body that finally believes you. So here's a practice to help you anchor this. Sit quietly with your spine tall. Close your eyes. Breathe into your heart space. Slow, steady, deep. Bring to mind the identity you're ready to activate. Choose one declaration. I am secure. I am radiant. I am free. Now move beyond the words. Imagine living it. See it through your own eyes. Feel it in your body. Walk as that version of you. Sense how people respond to the energy you radiate. Smile if it comes naturally. Place your hand gently over your heart and breathe as though you already are that self. Whisper to yourself, "I am the frequency of my new reality." And then just be. Let the field synchronize. Let your nervous system absorb the upgrade. When you do this consistently, resistance loses its grip. Not because you fought the old story, but because you stopped feeding it. Transformation doesn't happen by forcing new beliefs into your mind. It happens when your body feels that a new identity is safe. And once it feels safe, it becomes familiar. And once it's familiar, it becomes normal. And once it's normal, reality mirrors it back to you. This is how you become someone new. Not by waiting for proof, but by becoming the proof. You're not just rewiring thoughts, you're recoding your electromagnetic signature. You're shifting the signal that the universe responds to. And soon, the people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your new I will begin to appear. Not because you hunted them down, but because you became the tuning fork that drew them in. But here's the part most overlook: consistency. Repetition tells the field, this is who I am now, not a wish, not a passing thought, an identity. It's not enough to declare, I am powerful, once. You must return to it again and again, especially when nothing outside has changed yet. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you unstoppable. So before we move into the next stage, understanding how timelines shift once you stabilize your new frequency, pause here. Remember this. You are not broken. You are not late. You are in the sacred process of remembering who you truly are, and that remembering begins with a declaration. So I invite you, draw a line in the sand. Type in the comments, I am the frequency of my new reality. Don't just write it, feel it. Let it echo into the field as proof that the rewrite has already begun. Because it has. Right now, there's a version of you already living the life you've been imagining. A version who doesn't second guess, doesn't stall, doesn't wonder if it's possible, because for them, it already is. They've stepped across the threshold. They're existing in a timeline where your dreams aren't distant. They're ordinary. And the only difference between that self and this one is the declaration you're willing to embody today. That future self you sense, the one who is confident, abundant, at peace, isn't unreachable. They're not hidden in some distant timeline. They're already here, waiting for you to tune into their frequency. This is where everything we've explored begins to converge. Because when you speak the words, "I am," you're not just shaping beliefs, you're broadcasting a signal. And when you shift that signal, you don't just feel different. You begin aligning with an entirely different version of reality. This is the true essence behind what many call timeline jumping. It's not about changing the external world. It's about changing which self the world reflects back to you. From the perspective of quantum physics, every possibility you can imagine already exists as a wave of probability. Right now, you are surrounded by infinite timelines. Each one corresponds to a different state of consciousness, a different I am. Yes, there's a timeline where you remain stuck, overwhelmed, and unsure. But just as real is the timeline where you have already reclaimed your worth, embraced abundance, and stepped fully into love. The difference between them isn't luck, effort, or time. It's frequency. Each version of you is broadcasting a unique vibrational signature. Timeline A vibrates at one level, Timeline B at another. And the signal that selects which version you experience is determined by what you consistently feel and believe about yourself. This is why I am isn't just affirmation, it's access. Imagine declaring, "I am confident. I am ready. I am already living the life I once only dreamed of." If you embody those words with emotional alignment and physiological coherence, something profound begins to happen. Your nervous system reorganizes. Your choices shift. You stop accepting what no longer belongs to your new identity. Your posture changes. Synchronicities, people, opportunities, inspirations begin to appear, drawn to your new broadcast. You didn't force the shift. You tuned to it. And what of the old timeline? It doesn't need to be destroyed. It simply fades. Why? Because you stopped feeding it. Reality works like an algorithm. What you no longer give your attention to begins to dissolve. Your attention is the currency of creation. Whatever you stop energizing loses power. Whatever you embody expands. And this is not just poetic language. It's measurable. Thoughts emit electrical signals. Emotions radiate magnetic fields. Together, they form your electromagnetic signature, the very code the quantum field responds to. And that code selects your timeline. When your inner world becomes coherent with a new I am, the external world gradually adapts. Not with dramatic fireworks, but with quiet alignment, like gears clicking into place. Suddenly, what felt impossible begins to feel natural. What once seemed distant becomes obvious, ordinary. Because for the version of you already living it, it is. And here's the liberating truth. You don't need to know how. You only need to know who. Your task isn't to micromanage the quantum field. It's to live as the self who already knows. To act, feel, and decide as if it's done. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to someday. It responds to now. This is exactly what Neville Goddard meant when he taught. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hope for it. Not imagine it as distant. Assume it. Enter it. Wear it until it becomes second nature. At first it may feel like practice, but eventually it feels like truth. That's when you've jumped timelines. Not because your entire environment suddenly flips upside down, but because you are no longer the same observer. Your responses shift. Your presence deepens. You stop reaching into the future. You embody it in the present, and those around you will feel it. They may not have the language to explain it, but they'll notice. They'll say, "You've changed," and they'll be right, because you have. If you've been waiting for a sign to choose, consider this moment your answer. Not to fix yourself, not to prove yourself, but to align with what already exists, the frequency that has always known you. You are not in the process of becoming. You are in the process of remembering. And in this final step of our journey, we anchor the greatest truth of all. Your new self is not a distant destination. It is a return to the version of you that never forgot who you are. For too long, you've been taught to chase forward, to strive, to climb, to hunt for the better you hidden somewhere beyond the next breakthrough. But what if that self was never ahead of you, but already within you? What if the new you wasn't something you had to build, but something you had to reveal? Because here is the liberating truth. The new you already exists. Not as a metaphor, not as a dream, but vibrationally, encoded in the quantum field as a fully formed frequency, waiting for your alignment, waiting for your I am. You don't have to invent her. You don't have to earn him. All you must do is remember what it feels like to live as them, and then, moment by moment, choose to become that memory in motion. Everything you've felt in this journey, the resonance of truth, the weight of resistance, the power of coherence, has been guiding you home, not to the self shaped by pain, survival, or outside approval, but to the self beyond condition. The one that whispers, "I am enough. I am infinite. I am home." You were never disconnected, only distracted. And now you remember. Take a look at your life, not with judgment, but as a mirror. Ask, what I am has been running the show. What identity have I been rehearsing with my habits, my language, my choices? Because whatever you've been repeating, you've been becoming. But today is different. Today you see clearly. And when you see, your vibration rises. And when your vibration rises, you no longer tolerate anything that doesn't resonate with your new frequency. You don't need more proof to step into the new you. Becoming is the proof. And yes, your circumstances may still reflect the old story for a while. Your finances may look the same. Your relationships may mirror past patterns. But remember, reality carries a delay. Think of the night sky. Many of the stars shining above us burned out long ago, yet their light is only now arriving. In the same way, your current circumstances are not the reflection of who you are now. They are the echo of who you were. When you truly understand this, the delay stops feeling like a punishment. It becomes a promise. Because if today's reality is just the afterglow of your old self, imagine what's already on its way from the self you just chose to embody. No more forcing. No more begging. You don't need to chase the universe for what is already encoded in your field. You are no longer a seeker. You are a selector. And I am is the key you use to choose. So here, at the close of this journey, the invitation is simple. No more waiting, no more hoping, only becoming. And if you're ready to go deeper, ready to anchor this shift not as a fleeting moment, but as a living movement, I created something for you. It's called Awaken Your Quantum Power, a guide designed to help you embody the identity shifts we explored here. Inside, you'll find practical tools, daily rituals, and expanded teachings to dissolve the old self and stabilize your new timeline. You'll find the link in the pinned comment, an open doorway into something larger, a new resonance, a new reality, a new you that was never truly lost, only waiting for you to speak the words, I am.